The appointment of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Noordin Haji, to be the next National Intelligence Services Director General has taken most Kenyans completely by surprise. There is shock right across the country. On my show today, we shall take a deeper look at this, and indeed a very revealing look. And let me say this for starters. This particular appointment helps those of us who are still trying to piece together what really happened last August, the year 2022, during the presidential elections. This appointment is in fact a very important clue, a very important part of the jigsaw puzzle that was our last presidential elections. But I'll come to that towards the tail end of this video. We need to start this story at the beginning and build it up slowly so that we totally understand that this is the most significant appointment so far, by far, that Ruto has made. Yes, you heard me correctly. It is the most significant appointment. Right. And let us start this story with the drama that unfolded in the country called Kenya on the 21st September 2013. For those who are good with dates, that was the day of the Westgate Mall attack, Westgate in Westlands, where Al-Shabaab operatives rained havoc at that shopping mall with heavy casualties. And indeed this tragedy touched many other parts of the world apart from Kenya. Trapped inside the Westgate Mall was a man called Noordin Haji, who at the time worked for the National Intelligence Service. And the story goes, Noordin Haji placed a call to his brother Abdul Haji, who is a current senator, who is trained on how to use a firearm, and how to protect oneself while using the same. Let me just leave it at that. It is said that Abdul at that time was at the Air Center and drove at breakneck speed towards Westgate Mall. Well, at the end of the day, he had not only rescued his brother, Noordin, but he had also rescued a lot of other people, including women and children, during this particular terror attack. I believe you can see photographs of that drama flashing across your screens right now. But let us dig a little deeper into this Westgate manenos, because I believe they'll help us understand this man called Noordin Haji and where he's coming from. The father of Noordin Haji, the late Yusuf Haji, had been the defense minister of the country called Kenya up to March that same year, March 2013. This attack happened in September 2013. Now that one is significant. You see, the defense minister is one of the very few people, actually apart from the president, is one of the very few Kenyans who has a major peek, very major access into what is happening within intelligence circles in the country. This is a man or woman, recent appointees have been women, who has a lot of information linked to what the country's intelligence service is doing, and gathering that kind of information. And we know this information is in the public domain, that our Kenyan intelligence service had already known, was aware that there was a planned attack, and they even had possible targets, and the Westgate was one of them. the Kenyan government and intelligence service knew for months that there was something cooking, that the Al-Shabaab were due to attack at any time. And therefore Mzee Yusuf Haji definitely had that information. It is possible that Noordin himself may not have had that information. Okay? But it is highly unlikely. Possible, but highly unlikely. Because he was already working at a very senior position within the National Intelligence Service. And to make matters even more interesting, we are told that prior to that attack, Noordin Haji had already received several death threats from the Al-Shabaab group. You see, what had happened is that it had leaked out that he works for the NIS. Okay? Now, don't be in a hurry to jump to any conclusions. I'm just giving a lot of information, and I want us to put it together in helping us to understand this man, Noordin Haji. Now, the Westgate attack is still a terror attack on Kenyan soil that is shrouded in deep mystery. Indeed, the international community has blamed Kenya for years for their reluctance to investigate, to get to the bottom of what really happened at Westgate. So there's that big question mark. Bottom line, Noordin Haji was trapped somehow in a place where he was not supposed to be, based on the information that his father already had and information he himself may have had. Okay, let's just leave it at that. The next time the name of Noordin Haji burst into the limelight was in 2018, when President Uhuru Kenyatta, in a shock appointment, took everybody by surprise, appointed him the new Director of Public Prosecutions, okay, taking over from Keraito Tobiko. Tobiko was promptly appointed to the cabinet. Now, a super fascinating nugget here is to note that one huge difference between President Uhuru Kenyatta and President Ruto is that President Uhuru Kenyatta made very calculated appointments, most times based on the attempt to solve a problem. Okay? On the other hand, President Ruto makes his appointments with the number one consideration always being loyalty. Loyalty to Ruto. That's what gets you big appointments. We've already seen that. It's very clear. It's obvious. Okay? That's one major difference. The problem President Uhuru Kenyatta was trying to solve, and we covered this in a video at the time, is that there had always been a major problem of coordination between security organs, and especially the National Intelligence Services and the Director of Public Prosecutions. You see, national security supersedes everything. So you prosecute a case, and the question that is always asked is there a link to our national security? Will it deter ongoing operations or operations in the near future? That is always the question. And if the answer to any of those questions is yes, then the prosecution should not go forward. And this happens all over the world, not just in Kenya. And so by appointing somebody who was very familiar, somebody indeed he had plucked from the National Intelligence Services, President Uhuru Kenyatta solved this particular problem neatly with one stroke of the pen, one appointment. Fast forward to the present. With about 3 years left to serve, in his term as Director of Public Prosecutions, the Constitution does not allow his term to be extended beyond that. With just those 3 years left, now Noordin Haji is suddenly back at the National Intelligence Services, but at the most senior position in that organization. If Parliament approves, he will now be the boss. And remember what I've just said. President Ruto appoints with the topmost item on his list to consider that appointment being loyalty. Loyalty to him. Okay? What does this tell us? It tells us that Ruto and Noordin Haji must have been working together for a very long time. Now, this is a bit puzzling. You will remember that at the time Noordin Haji was appointed, President Uhuru Kenyatta had fallen out with his deputy, at that time William Ruto. And there are those who believe that one of the reasons Uhuru appointed Noordin was to enable him to successfully prosecute people very close to Ruto. Very confusing. Actually, it's not. It reveals one of the major strengths of William Ruto, which I'll reveal in this video today. I suggest you sit down. Ruto's biggest strength, which has enabled him to reach where he has reached today, which enabled him to outfox President Uhuru Kenyatta while he was in office, Raila Odinga, and the system, as we call it in Kenya. That strength of Ruto is having allies and friends everywhere, and especially in places where nobody can ever guess that those people are for him, or that those people are working with him. And the case of Noordin Haji is a perfect example. With that information, we now know how it was possible that Uhuru Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya at that time, was completely kept in the dark as to what was happening right under his nose in the run-up to that general election. We now have the explanation. The explanation is Ruto had his people hidden in key positions, very powerful positions, everywhere. And that's how he pulled it off. Now, there's something worth emphasizing here, so that we all understand. You can go and read and do your research about what the National Intelligence Service Director General is supposed to do, what the spy chief is supposed to do in the country called Kenya, and you can do a very thorough job, but you will be wasting your time. Because to understand what the hold of this office really does properly, you will not find it in the Constitution. The answer is in the past holders of that office since independence. The head of the spy chief since independence is to keep the president in office. Period. Okay? That is putting it in very simple English and in one sentence. That is really what it is. All these other functions, all these other duties are secondary. And that would include ensuring that an outgoing president's exit strategy and plan is completely successful. Now, outgoing DG of the NIS, Philip Kameru, failed in that responsibility on August 2022. We all know that. And we also now know the reason why. You're the boss, but you have people working under you. And those people working under you can easily do their own things, and you will not be aware. They can easily keep things away from you. And that seems to have been what happened last year during the presidential elections. And all this information should convince you that there is no way Noordin Haji would have been nominated for this position. There is absolutely no way, unless Noordin Haji has been loyal to the wishes of President Ruto for a very long time, from even before he rose to the presidency. Now, there's something else very interesting about this latest appointment. We are told officially that Noordin Haji has returned to the NIS because he was there previously holding the position as head of organized crime. Yeah, that's what we're being told. That is what is in all the news outlets. However, looking back at my records, previous videos I've done, previous research I've done, there is a problem. Because in the past, it was widely known, at least the people who were paying attention knew, that Bwana Noordin Haji did not head the organized crime unit. No! He headed the economic crimes unit. Now, there's a slight difference between those two, because organized crime ends up committing some economic crime, but there's a difference. You see, economic crimes in Kenya is mainly carried out by politicians. Okay? So why would somebody want to change that? Why? Why would it be so important to say organized crime instead of economic crimes? Huh? Very, very super fascinating. Don't you agree? Now, on social media, Kenyans have taken careful note of the way the Kenyan Somali community now controls very key, powerful positions in security in the country called Kenya. Kenyans have noted that and listed the people appointed to various positions, not forgetting the individual security officer who protected and facilitated William Ruto's entry into the Bomas during last August's presidential elections, and indeed his safe exit from the same place. Because you'll all remember there was a lot of chaos at the Bomas over the tallying of the presidential election results. So putting all that together, Kenyans are suspicious, and Kenyans are saying hapa iko kitu. Now, before I go, I have something that will be very useful to very many people on this channel. You see, the audience this channel reaches is very unique. We have many Kenyans, regulars on this channel, who are in the diaspora. We have many Kenyans in very senior positions in our country and living within the borders of Kenya who are regulars on this channel. We have many politicians who are regulars on this channel. That is a very unique audience. And in case you have a service or a product that you think this particular audience will be very interested in, and it is something genuine, something that will add value to their lives, something that will help Kenyans through these very difficult times, also through these very dangerous times. In case you have such a product or service, I will be very interested in partnering with you, and indeed even doing a video, a special video, focused on your product or service. And of course doing it in an interesting way, introducing a new interesting angle, not from your point of view, from the point of view of your potential customer, from the point of view of your most satisfied customers. So if you're in business, drop me an email. You can see the email address on your screens right now. As my contribution to Mother Kenya at this difficult time, I will do that video for you completely for free. using my voice, using my talent, using the knowledge I have gained over the years, to be able to communicate to your potential audience, potential customers, in a way that it will be very difficult for you to communicate to them anywhere else. Okay, so I think you should take full advantage of this limited opportunity. Of course, I'll only take a limited number of businesses. Na sio maringo, it is because it's not practical to do so many. So I'll just do a few as my contribution. Of course, I'll ask for a small fee for my time, but of course it will be a pittance, a fraction of what you'd have normally paid to reach such an audience. So all you have to do is drop me an email, give me as much detail about your business as possible, send me your telephone number, if possible, and I will get back to you after I've done my research on your company, your business, etc., etc. I have my way even to be able to reach your customers, your current customers, those who are satisfied. And if I think that you have something that will add value to the lives of Kenyans, I will do that for you. And I'm sure it will be of great benefit to you. And also it's yet another way to support this channel and to support our cause here for a better Kenya. It is all in line with that mission of a better Kenya. Has this video made you intrigued about the presidency, especially the Kenyan presidency? Or have you always been fascinated by this office? Well, I have a recommendation to make. I have an ebook titled Dark Secrets of the Kenyan Presidency. Many of you have already read it, but many of you have also not read it. But that's not all. I have also adapted most of the book into videos, and you can receive both the book and the videos based on the book in your email, in the next few seconds. You can see the offer on your screens right now, only $8.99. And I will even throw in something more, 3 months free membership to my weekly intelligence briefings. Now that has to be the offer of the year, so take full advantage of it. It will not last for long, just 1 or 2 days. So please rush and make sure that you get hold of Dark Secrets of the Kenyan Presidency. It has some very fascinating stories, most of them never before told. I'm sure you've never heard those stories, and they're not just stories, reality deep in State House. Okay, it is a super fascinating read, and also super fascinating to watch those videos. Dark Secrets of the Kenyan Presidency is a book like no other I have ever written. And for me, it was a very emotional experience. I started writing it in 2008, when the horrors of the 2007-2008 clashes were still very fresh on my mind. Untold horror that no Hollywood movie can ever match. And I knew then, more than anybody else, that indeed in Kenya, politics is a matter of life and death. And so writing this book was a journey of learning for me, and a very steep learning curve, for me. I finally completed it one day in 2009. The time was 3 or 5 a.m. I was exhausted, drained, and what is more, I had no idea what kind of contraption I had come up with. Was it good? Was it worth the read? Was it interesting? Because no matter how important your message is, if you do not deliver it in an interesting way, if you bore your audience, the message will never reach home. Looking back today, The reaction has always been very positive for this ebook. Some have called it a thriller. Many others have said it has changed forever the way they look at Kenyan politics. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.